to the Personnel Committee, the last one before the May. Welcome to the meeting, 21st of February, 2022. Where's the time gone? But anyway, just to make you aware, today's meeting will be recorded. And can I please remind you the protocol, all to switch your phones to silent for the duration of the meeting. And can I refer you to the protocols for remote meeting, which have been previously circulated. Microphone should be switched to mute unless you are speaking. And should you wish to ask a question or make a comment, please indicate by raising your electronic hand. I'll assume that you have all read the paperwork before today. And please can only use the chat function to raise technical issues. I would like to welcome any members of the public and press to today's meeting, but can I kindly ask you to observe the meeting only, as you are not allowed to speak or participate in the meeting. When asking a question, please indicate which page number you are referring to. I am Councillor Doreen Jones, Cabinet Member for Corporate Services and Equality and Chair of today's meeting. Nadine, will you take the roll call, and can you ask at the same time for any declarations of interest? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Mark, you as present. Have we got any declarations?
No declarations.
Councillor Causey?
Present, thanks, Nadine.
Any declarations?
None.
No. Councillor Scott Bamsey?
Present, Nadine, and no declarations.
Thank you. Councillor Sharon Freegard?
Present, Nadine, and no declarations of interest.
Okay, Councillor Joe Hale?
Present, Nadine, and no declarations. Thank you.
Councillor Nigel Hunt?
Present, Nadine, and no declarations.
Okay. Councillor Jane Jones?
Present, Nadine, and no declarations. Sorry, tongue-tied.
Okay. Councillor Simon Niall? Councillor Ted Latham? Councillor Sandra Miller has given her apologies. She's in the Democratic Services Committee. Councillor Anthony Taylor?
Present, Nadine, and no declarations.
Councillor Carol Clement Williams?
Present and no declarations.
Okay. Councillor Leanne Jones? Councillor Alan Lockyer?
Present, Nadine, and no declarations.
Yeah. Councillor Peter Rees?
Present, Nadine, and no declarations.
Councillor Peter Richards?
Present, Nadine, no declaration of interest. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Annette Wingrave? Move on to officers.
Giving apologies, Nadine.
Okay, thank you. Officer Sheena Rees?
Present, Nadine.
Diane Hopkins?
Present, Nadine.
And Catherine Lewis?
Yeah, present, Nadine.
Okay, that's the roll call complete, Chair.
Okay, thank you for that, Nadine. The next item on the agenda then, agenda item 3 is Chair's announcements. I have no announcements for today's meeting. And we go on then to agenda item 4. The report is on pages 3 to 16 and is here for information only. Do officers wish to add anything, or shall we go on to any questions?
Chair, we've got nothing to add to what's in the report, but happy to take any questions.
Okay. Are there any questions for the officers? You'll see it is just for noting. Carol?
Yes, thanks, Chair. Sorry, just getting my page. Do you know the figure we've got for employees 6995? I was wondering if we could show, because I know we've got percentages later on of the breakdown of the service areas, but are we able to also have how many people work in each service area? Because you know, sometimes the it's nice to see sort of the size of the workforce and it just complete the picture.
Does anyone want to answer that?
Yes, Chair. Yes, that's something that we can definitely provide. So we'll include that in the next report, the
Okay,
quarter 3 report.
Thank you. And last question, Chair. It says here that 3% of our employees have identified themselves as having a disability. Now, definition of disability is something that will, without treatment, would hinder your day-to-day work. And I'm just wondering, how do we, how do staff perceive a disability? Because arthritis would be a disability technically, and 3% seems really low. I was just wondering, is this some education that we need to be given to staff? Because some people don't want to say that they think they've got a disability because of the stigma, etc. A true reflection, I don't think 3% would be a true reflection on that. So I was just wondering if you could sort of explain a bit more for me.
Who wants to go and take that?
Okay, thanks, Chair. Councillor Clement-Williams, it's a really good question. The issue in relation to disability is it's self-reported data. So it's up to employees to identify themselves as having a disability and then to report it to us. So we do encourage employees to let us know if they have a disability. The more accurate a picture we have of our workforce and how the workforce is made up then helps inform our policies and strategies. So it's very helpful for us to know. I think you're right that the number does seem low. And I think our sense is that this figure doesn't necessarily reflect what's going on in the workforce, but it is up to the workforce whether they, if they perceive themselves as having a disability, and some people choose not to use that label. Yeah. So it is up to our employees, but it is something that we are going to look at further. As you know, we've just implemented the new iTrends payroll and HR database. And one of the key drivers for implementing the new database was to improve our collection of workforce data. As this year progresses, we'll be rolling out more employee self-serve. So we hope that in itself will encourage employees to share more about themselves with us.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if it's something we could do is a kind of article on the news. I can't remember the name. The link, is it?
Oh,
sorry.
In the loop.
In the loop, that's the one. I was just wondering if there's something we could do a little bit of an article in that, explaining to people what we consider to be a disability, and that it's only a good thing that they share that information if they believe that they fall into the category. Just to outline roughly what it is, because a lot of people's idea of a disability would be they're in a wheelchair or that kind of thing, and that isn't necessarily, and in fact I would say mostly isn't that. It would be other conditions that affect your day-to-day life. So I think that it's nice to know that you will be looking at it, but I think it's something that we could work on the loop.
But isn't that is a question that's normally on any application form, isn't it?
Yeah, but if they don't know what we consider to be
but what I'm saying is that is already on the, anyone applying for a job is able to say that they've got a disability.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like that for years.
Saying, Aaron, Carol, I understand what you're saying, but we do try and get that, make sure that people do report their. Again, like we've said before, someone said, it's all about equalities, isn't it? Making sure that everybody feels.
And I understand, and it's not the it's not a criticism.
No, it's not a criticism. I'm just saying that it is how it's managed and how we can improve it. Then, really, isn't it?
Yeah, thanks, Chair.
Councillor Nigel Hunt.
Oh, thank you, Chair. I just want to ask a question about the pay. 49% of 49% of our expenditure is on pay policy, but when I looked at the advice for pay policy for elected members, they recommended over 50% should be on the payroll. And last year it was 48%, so it's gone up by 1% since last year. So I'd like to know the reason for that. And if I could just go back into ModGov. I know that Carol has just asked about having the numbers of the employees. But we do have a pie chart there, which is really useful above it. So being as we have 6,995 employees, if you round that off to 7,000, is within 0.1%. You look at the environment, say, that's 22%. So you can see then that around 1,540 employees are in that sector. Or if you look at the schools, which is 41%, you would just,
Thanks,
you know,
Councillor Hunt, I do understand that. I just would like the extra stuff, but I think you're on the wrong paper with your question as well. Thanks.
Yeah,
I'm on the wrong paper.
Hang on. One speaker.
Am I?
Nigel, you finish off what you're saying, and then Carol, if you want to come back, I'll allow you, right? Carry on, Nigel.
Yeah, what I'm saying, Carol, it's all there for us, really. The percentages of each sector is there. You know, you've got the environment, health, schools, social services, corporate services, and education, and leisure. So it's just all there. That's the point I'm making. But going back to it, as I said, 49% of our gross expenditure is on pay policy. It's up from 48% last year.
Well, that at the moment, that isn't what we're discussing. We're discussing the sickness, absence, and what have you at the moment.
Okay.
That's where it is. Okay.
Okay. So okay.
That's a separate item. Carol, did you want to come back?
No, thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Well, that item is there for information only. And then we go on to then item 5, unless there are anyone. Sheena, did you want to come back?
Thanks, Chair. I think Councillor Hunt's question was in relation to the Workplace Information Report. And I can give a very quick explanation in relation to the question, if that's okay, Chair.
Yeah.
So in terms of comparing 49% with the average guidance that's given to councillors, so that guidance is in relation to what an average council will spend on staffing.
Yeah.
You have to consider what an average council is. So in this council, for instance, there are services that we don't employ directly. In other councils, they will employ certain services directly. So for example, residential care. So that explains why there are going to be differences from council to council in relation to what they spend on workforce. In terms of why our expenditure has gone up, there has been funding made available to increase capacity in the council, and that's something that we've been working hard on over the past few months. We also now employ the TTP service, so that will have increased our staffing headcount. That's what I would guess is behind the increase in figures. To get a more detailed breakdown, I'll have to ask financial services to do that for us. So if that's something that you'd like me to do, Councillor Hunt, I can ask them for that.
Yes, yeah, I'd be very grateful for that, and that answer is very useful actually. To those factors I hadn't thought about, but in the paper that I read, what they did say was that it wasn't the average. That councils should have a payroll of at least 50%. So that's around about 3 million. And of course, we're always talking about capacity, whether it's street care, whether it's active travel, whether it's levelling up fund. Our capacity always seems to be low, so I think it is relevant, and I'm glad you clarified that this is in the right section, or that we are on this at the moment. So I do think it's relevant, really, because as I said, we're losing out on grants of millions of pounds because we don't have the staffing capacity. So that's why I'm asking about the 49%. And as I said, it's gone up by 1%, which I'm quite pleased with since last year. But thank you, Sheena. That was a very useful answer. Thanks.
If there are any updates on that, perhaps it could be circulated to everybody, Sheena. Okay.
Thanks, Sheena.
Has anyone else got any more comments to make? If not, I'll move on then to agenda item. That was for noting. Agenda item 5, and this is for decisions. So the report is on pages 17 to 50. And have you anything to add? Who's taking this?
Me, Chair, if that's okay. Yeah,
Right, okay.
thank you. I just want to point out to members that there's an error on page 27 of the report. In the second box in age range, it says the highest number of employees in our workforce are age 45 to 54. That should read 51 to 60, and then followed by those aged 41 to 50. So apology to members for that error in the report. I just wanted to point it out.
Okay, thank you for that. Are there any questions or any observations on this report? I don't see any. Is that a legacy hand, Nigel?
Yes, it is. Sorry, sorry, Chair.
I didn't want to ignore you. We've got something to ask. Well, this is for approval, a recommendation, and that's on page 20 of the report pack that you've got in front of you. I propose that we accept the report. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second, Chair.
Thank you very much. And if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your electronic hand, I'll assume you're in favour of the recommendation. Okay. Right then, on to page 51 to 106, and that's the pay policy statement. And there's no recommendations for this one. So who's taking this one? You, Sheena?
Yes, thanks, Chair. This report is just for information. It'll be presented to Council on the 1st of March for approval, and that's approval for publication on the Council's website. So happy to take any questions on this, Chair.
Chair, do we have to move the access to meetings?
No, not with this one. It's the other one.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry.
That's okay. I'm making sure. Oh, wait a minute.
Item 8. You said you were on item 8, Chair.
No, on item 5. Sorry.
Yes, this is the
on item 6. This one.
Yeah.
Item 6. Well, that's right. I haven't got it on here. Yeah. Are there any questions? No, I don't see any. So you're okay for that to go to the meeting to council on the 1st of March. Okay, thank you very much. Now I go on to item 7, which is my urgent items, and there are no urgent items. And agenda item 8, that pursuant to section 100A bracket 4 and 5 of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded for the following items of business, which involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraph 15 of part 4 of schedule 12A of the above act. I propose, if I could have a seconder, please.
I second that, Chair.
Thank you very much. And if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising your electronic hand, I will assume that you are in favour of moving into private session. So Nadine, have we had any members of the public?
No members. So I'll stop recording as well, Chair.
There we are. Okay, and then